The game is a game that was played with my grade 12 English students, with 55 English students in grade 12. The purpose of the game was to try to individualize the tasks that each student had in a dynamic and playful format. Oh, they were very confused, some were upset, most didn't really seem all that pleased by the whole concept. And I think part of it was that in the first phase of the game, it was very dramatic, and I took on a certain persona, and it was a very sort of hard and authoritarian persona, which is not my usual way of being in the classroom. And I think that I was being quite realistic in my delivery of that persona, and it really threw a lot of my students off. And I think because there was no warning that the game would be starting, and it was a very dramatic and sort of fast attempt to get them sort of in the game mind as quickly as possible, I do feel that initially there was a lot of confusion and definitely people being very weary as to where it was all leading. I saw a level of engagement in my students that I've rarely seen before at a time when grade 12 students would be completely disengaged. I saw probably some of the best quality work that was produced all year being produced by my students in a larger volume and more regular basis, and an incredible amount of emotional attachment and dedication to the game by students who really at some points were doing it even for no points. There was actually sort of a love of playing almost took over the incentive system that was created. And I saw so many positive things, and it brought so many positive elements of my students out that I hadn't seen before, that, that I would hope this is the future of education.
You want to know a little bit of the history of how it came to me? Okay, so I remember Mr. Darvasi came to me with this concept of the game, and he was very excited and very passionate about the fact that he had come up with this concept of turning One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest into something like a video game, right? Which was the whole premise behind it. And to do so to the best of his ability without the technology piece that was actually looked like a video game, but the concept was there, and I just remember seeing a lot of passion and excitement and a lot of thought being put into how that was going to play out, and I thought it was exciting. Like, you know, as an administrator, you want teachers to be passionate and excited, and you want them to know that something's been well thought out and that they're sort of taking chances and taking risks and making an attempt to engage students in something that looks to be very exciting. So that's how it came to me.
I was just covering one of his classes. I knew very little. I knew very small parameters for the coverage of his three classes that I covered for him. I asked for the coverage that I wear a lab coat, a name tag, and did not know the boys, pretended not to know the boys. And they had some activities they were doing in that class. They had homework, and they had to hand in homework, that's all I knew.
The game to me, I don't know, I thought it was a good, easy way of doing an ISP. It was pretty fun, being able to do games. It was like an easier way to do work.
I didn't get it. It was kind of jokes. That was kind of the fun part, but I don't know why, what the purpose was, why that affected our learning. It was kind of scary, actually. You know, you didn't know who to trust.
I liked it. I thought it was great. I thought it was a great idea. I thought it was a pretty cool concept. I know that a big part of the reason behind it was, okay, here are these guys in grade 12 without a sort of, a lot of them have offers, and how am I going to engage them in this final novel, and how am I going to keep them focused and engaged in a final term where guys tend to start checking out.
Right.
And so when he explained that piece to me, I was like, great. I loved the thought of it, and you know, again, wanted to provide him with the opportunity to take that risk and do something a little bit different.
Like the first day when we started the game, it was like, what the hell is going on? Like, Mr. Darvasi comes in and like starts yelling at us, and I'm like, okay. New Darvasi has been born. I was really taken aback by it, but yeah, it was like really cool. After the first day, I was like, everyone was really into it. It's like, oh, the game, can't talk about it though, and like, I gotta get points, I gotta go get my book, gotta keep up on the reading and doing the work.
There were missions that encouraged blind collaboration. So one person would be tasked to write a short script, and that was sent to another individual who did not know who wrote the script in order to create an audio podcast based on the script. They don't know where the script came from. Then that audio podcast would be sent to a third player who would make a film or a video response based on the podcast, not knowing who created the podcast and not knowing who created the script. And then finally these products started emerging in various points through QR codes or on websites, and then those videos became part of the game. They held clues or they were parts of missions. So the game started building on itself. Missions varied anywhere from events where somebody would be asked to create a flash mob, to an art exhibit, to producing videos, to spying on their classmates, to opening up avenues of information with the media studies class. There are at least, I would estimate, between 60 and 70 different missions of a very varied nature.
Yeah, so like we'd have missions sent to us like by email, and like you do it, you could either accept it or decline it, and like you get like 15 points if you do it, and usually they're pretty easy. And then you'd have to, like, sometimes you'd have to bring stuff into class, like always have to bring in your digital watch, always have to bring in your book that, like, in the book had like a code in it, kind of, that Mr. Darvazu put in it, and so you get points for that. And you wanted to, however many points you accumulated at the end would be your like your ending average for the ISP. So me, I always ended up having rugby the same day as English, so I missed a lot of classes. So I think I might have ended off with like 75, which is a pretty big bummer, because like it was an easy project to get good. It was an easy project to do really well on, and like I've heard of a lot of people getting 100%. So yeah, I thought the game was pretty sick, and I thought it was like definitely a new way of learning about a book, and I thought it was actually really cool.
If I were to say, would the boys have learned more about the book if I'd had a traditional classroom unit in the way that I've always taught English? I think there might be an argument that they would have probably unearthed more of the book's meaning in certain ways, but what the game did is it changed the emphasis from their trying to understand the book to actually responding to the book creatively. And they started creating all kinds of media, of images, of writing, and of events related and inspired by the book. So in many ways, even though the process of analysis wasn't as rigorous, they were certainly living the reality of the book in certain ways. So I think there's a stronger emotional connection at that point.
It was effective, I guess, and like I learned what happened, but more, I knew like plot details more than they usually would have, but I think it could have been used like in combination with regular teaching methods. It would have been more effective.
Initially, I said it was a very dramatic aspect to the game, and there was a lot of confusion and madness. And then it started gaining its shape and structure, and increasingly it started organizing itself in such a way that students were carrying out individual tasks. Some of them were collaborating on tasks. Some of them were blindly collaborating on tasks, and as the game evolved, certain players decided to start sort of a counter game at the same time, and in some ways playfully disrupt the game.
Okay, so the committee, I don't know where I was the whole time during this, but supposedly the committee was there was this group of students in our grade who made up a fake account, like email account, and like they started doing like sending people fake missions, and so like it was pretty funny and really it was really cool what they did. Like they like stole Mr. Darvazi's book and replaced it with another one then, but Mr. Darvazi knew that they stole it because like it had all his notes in it, and then they like put it in a package and then sent it to the school, but they put their return address on it as like some like plastic surgery place in Nevada. So just like ridiculous, and they started sending kids like messages, but like some of them were like ridiculous. Like some were like stand up in like a public place and say something really stupid, or like John Wilson got one that was like that it said like, the ward has been testing out new medication out on you. It's been working really well. Now all the points that you get are going to be tripled. So John Wilson thought he was doing really well on it. And
it's weird because it's like this one little project has like made people lie and scheme about all these different.
But it added this like other layer to education or like school, where we were engaged in something that wasn't just like, you know, go to class, hand in your homework. It was, you know, there was like espionage and all like secrecy, stuff like that, and stuff that we enjoy. So it was like all this stuff that we, you know, find in like our Xbox games and like sports just at school and in the, like Mr. Darvazi's English class environment.